Hey everyone, welcome back to BlenderDiplom.com. Once again, this is Gottfried Karl-Heinrich Hofmann speaking, and today's tutorial is about a feature set in Blender that's unfortunately not so well known, even though it is very handy, especially for animation. And that's the video sequence editor. You can select it up here in the screen layout selector, choose video editing, and bang, here it is. This is practically a non-linear video sequence editor like you might know from Premiere by Adobe or Final Cut Pro by Apple, or maybe other cool open source packages like Cinderella or OpenShot. But if you're coming from the aforementioned packages, you might not really feel at home, because this here is a video editor especially made for the Blender users. So if you're a Blender user who just wants to cut some video or edit his animation, this is perfect for you. Because all the controls Blender uses, especially in the NLA, are also working here in the VSE. So let's just dive in. Let's add a movie. And that's pretty simple. Here I've already prepared one. Actually, I've prepared an entire package for you to play with. It's got a movie inside, an image sequence, and some sound effects, plus a still image. You can download it on BlenderDiplom.com in the section of this tutorial. So let's start playing. Add the movie strip. And here we got it. And this is where most of the action will take place, the video sequence editor window. You can navigate it more or less like the Blender viewport. So if you're holding the middle mouse button, of course you cannot rotate, but you can pan, which is already pretty cool. Using the mouse wheel you can zoom in and out. And of course you got the handles down here that change the timeline, or here of course the same thing for the strips. Now let's check out what's in there. We got a strip of some guy, and if we are hitting Alt A, we might hear some sound.
Hello everyone, welcome back to...
So, there might be a few things that are not perfect yet, and let's correct each of them one after the other. First of all, the strips are not starting at frame 1, but at some arbitrary positions, so let's move them, both of them. We can select them as it's the default in Blender using the left mouse button, no, the right mouse button. So right mouse select, shift select the other one, hit G to move it, and let's move it to the very first frame. Now that's perfect. Next thing is that our animation ends at frame 250, that's right here, while of course the strip is a lot longer. So let's make it bigger. And for this animation I want 500 frames, so select 500. Now we got at least this. Then of course you might ask yourself, what's the blue strip and what's the green one? And the blue one is the video part, while the green one is the audio part. And usually in a video editor you'll see the waveforms here. In Blender that's not enabled by default. To see them you have to go to the properties of your audio strip. Scroll down a little and enable caching. And now it's caching the sound, and you got here the waveform. So now,
Hello everyone, welcome back to Blender.
And you might notice that it's still a little out of sync, unfortunately. So let's see here. Oh, that's actually pretty good. But it's slightly out of sync, and we can easily fix this problem by checking down here on the playback, select frame dropping. And now it would stutter a little, but things should always be in sync. So once again, let's check it out. And it's perfectly in sync.
Hello.
And you might have also noticed here the reason why you got this clapping like stuff in all professional productions, where they got these two pieces of wood they slam together, and they are reading Klappe die Erste here in Deutsch, Germany. And that's because they want to sync the audio with the video, especially if you got multiple microphones. the clap will be shown inside the editor as this little spike in the audio waveform. And now let's move on and edit things a little more. Another cool feature you might want to enable by default is audio scrubbing. Now, you get it. And now what I want to do is I want to sync the audio part here to an image sequence. So far we've added a movie, and this time let's add an image. I've prepared the image sequence, so let's go into the folder. Now we've got lots and lots of images that are numbered in a sequence. Let's just hit A to select all, and here you can select the start frame. And with the movie we didn't do this, so it was somewhere in the middle of the sequence. But now let's select frame 1 as a start frame, and as a channel let's select the third channel. So here it's already perfectly aligned, and it's behaving just like a movie, even though it's an image sequence. Pretty cool, right? And that's summarized by me. If you're rendering out an animation in Blender, always render it to a PNG or OpenXR image sequence. And if you want to create an AVI or a Matroska or a QuickTime from that, use the video sequence editor to create that, because you won't lose quality when you're rendering to a PNG sequence, and maybe your render will crash at frame 490 or frame 500, and of course that's very annoying, and you can save you all this annoyance by rendering an image sequence, because in that case you will still have frame 1 to 490 and only need to render the last 10 frames to get your entire sequence. So, piece of advice, always render image sequences first and then use the video sequence editor to create your video of choice, or the video you need. And now what I want to do here is I want to see whether check whether the image sequence and the video or audio are in sync. So what I'm gonna do is I'm selecting under blend, I'm selecting the opacity and choose 0.5, and now the bottom video should shine through, and checking through the timeline, you see that the lips are of the both videos are perfectly in sync.
And this time we are about to...
Wow, cool, right? And from the video, actually I only need the audio, so let's delete the video part. Simple as usual in Blender, hit X and delete. And now in the image sequence we might want to return the opacity back to its complete value of 1. And now, to save a little space here, let's select both the audio and the image sequence, hit G, Y to constrain the movement on the Y-axis, and move it down. Now we got the space up here left for a few other strips I'm gonna add later on. And here we got our image sequence and the sound. And of course it's a little weird when you got here this clap and everything right in the animation. So let's may have the audio fade in, and that's also very easy. You know, you can keyframe everything in Blender 2.58, so let's just keyframe the audio volume. So go to the volume and hit I to enter a keyframe. Let's go up to the front where the guys just starting to pop out. Select 0 for volume and hit I again. And now...
Hello everyone, welcome.
And of course let's do the same for the end of the video. Select I for the volume, and yeah, it's popping down to 0. Yeah. Perfect. But it's still not cool enough. I also want to add some sound for the... here for this... yeah, let's call it for the projector of the hologram, because of course that's working, and it also should have a sound. So let's add a sound effect. And I've added a edited a pretty cool package of sound effects for you to the footage package. And that's the all sound effects from the game Golgotha, which are public domain. It's a highly professional, pretty good sound effects package of public domain sounds created by some guys back in the 90s who wanted to do the best video game ever, but the company failed and they dedicated all their assets to the public domain. So it's a ultra cool package and you should definitely check it out. It's of course also in the package for this tutorial on BlenderDiplom.com. So add the sound effect strip, choose G to go up there, and let's start caching. And this is of course way too loud, so let's reduce the volume to 0.1. And now let's see where the popping begins here, and that's where we're also gonna move the sound effect clip now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to...
Yeah, pretty cool, right? But I also want ongoing sounds, so let's add another sound effect from the same package, and that's the firing sound, and select channel 4. So this one will sort of go on firing. Of course, reduce the volume 0.1, and now hit G to move it a little bit.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Hello everyone, welcome back to... Hello everyone, welcome back.
And let's duplicate it, go down there, and let's see how this sounds.
BlenderDiplom.com, BlenderDiplom.com.
And it's already created in a way that it mixes perfectly, so let's hit Shift D, Shift D, Shift D. And for the last one, I'm gonna add a third sound effect, and that's of course the power down, and for the channel I guess it's 3. So move it up here, set it of course once again to caching. And you might have noticed that even though you turned on caching, you don't see the effect inside the strip. And to get these kind of changes reflect in the video sequence editor window, you either need to change the position of your playhead, or if you don't want that, hit refresh sequencer. Now it's there. Oh, and of course it's way too loud. And I guess it needs to get up there a little bit more, so let's see.
A very famous movie, so let's go.
And now the sequence is perfect, including sound. So let's save. And yeah, it's coming up.
Hello everyone, welcome back
Guys
to
talking.
BlenderDiplom.com. This is Gottfried Karlheinrich speaking.
Of course, the sound effects usually don't line up as perfectly as in this game, so as in this game package. So
let's go.
Usually you might need to do some crossfading. It's just in this game that things are working out perfectly. And another thing I want to add to really give this extra touch is a small watermark down here from an image. So far we've added a movie and a sound, and now let's add an image. Here it is, video overlay. Let's select a start frame of 1. Channel should be 5 if I've counted correctly. And now here's the image. It's over the video, so of course currently you don't see anything, but the image, it has been created in the GIMP as an alpha channel. So under blend, select alpha over. Yeah, and now you see the movie and the overlay image. And there's still something that needs to be changed, and that's select pre-multiply. And now let's refresh this sequencer once again, and now we got our perfect watermark. And of course we want it to span over the entire range of the animation. And for this kind of stuff we can select this handle here, right click on it. Now it's becoming darker, and you see the keyframe or the frame number, and hit G. And now we can expand the range of the image, the still image, up to frame 500, and now, yeah, we got a perfect watermark and we got sound and everything. So let's hit save. And this is basically how I created this animation. And for the last thing I want to show you is how can you export your footage now. So of course that's also very easy. You might be tempted to select the default screen layout again and here render scene and everything, but I think it's a lot easier if you're just opening up here another window and select properties from the panel, and now you got all the same options, but directly inside your video sequence editor. So let's select the frame rate. The 24 frames is already correct. And on the output, very good tip, hit // and this will mean it's outputting directly where your blend file is located. Then let's give it a name. And under type, let's not select file format, not select an image format, but movie format. And the best one you can choose is MPEG, I think, because this gives you most of the options. And we got a few presets here like H.264, and this allows you to select a format. And don't be fooled by this. The format is actually more or less the container. So for example, if I select Matroska, I can still select a codec. And really cool thing is that you can also select QuickTime. This is 2.58 and it still got QuickTime support. It's just not using the external QuickTime libraries anymore, but the QuickTime support built into the built-in FFmpeg. So you can still select the QuickTime as a container, which will create a .mov, and you've got a selection of codecs to use, like for example H.264 or HAFYAF and stuff. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the MP4 container, which is usually pretty safe, and as an audio codec I'm gonna choose AAC, and this should create a audio and video file inside a .mp4 container that should be playable even with Apple products like the QuickTime Player or iMovie and everything. So let's render it out. The last step, of course, is ultra easy. First I'm gonna save the file and then I hit render animation, and here we go. Oh, by the way, it's maybe rendering a little slow, but that's maybe mainly because I've got overlay here and various other stuff, and of course the video codec also has to work. So yeah, while this guy is rendering, I'll already say thanks for watching. I hope you learned a little bit from this tutorial and don't have all the trouble anymore by directly rendering out the video files. Just render out the image sequences and use the video sequence editor to create a movie file from it. And yeah, Blender is cool. Blender got many features, everything all in one, no matter whether you're using Windows, Linux, macOS, the interface is always the same. You got the same feature set, and that's pretty cool. You don't need any other applications for most stuff because it's got everything built in. So happy blending and enjoy the weekend if you're watching this on a weekend. If you're watching this on a work day, maybe I'd rather wish you a productive work day. Well, bye.